Today we're looking at climate predictions that didn't come true. Yes, a veritable conga line of forecasts that, like a New Year's resolution to go to the gym, started strong, but didn't quite make it. It's a deep dive into the almost apocalyptic scenarios, the doomsday threats, that to the surprise of the elites, decided to ghost us. We'll go through them one by one, looking at what was said versus what actually happened. Predictions from 1970. Washington Post said NASA scientists have predicted new ice age by year 2000. Reality, Y2K had bigger problems. Associated Press stated, drought could bring USA water rationing. Reality, Las Vegas fountains laughed. The Boston Globe said, scientist predicts food rationing by 1980. Reality, McDonald's introduced the McNugget. Predictions from 1971. The New York Times said, climate shift will cause mass starvation by 2020. Reality, food delivery apps flourished. The Chicago Tribune said, scientists warn of world famine by 2000. Reality, obesity turned into an epidemic. Predictions from 1972. The Guardian's headline stated, oil depletion by 2003, experts warn. Reality, SUVs multiplied. Reuters headlines stated, only 20 years of oil left, says UN study. Reality, OPEC celebrated record profits. The Village Voice said, rising seas to drown New York by 2008. There was also an environmental rally for this. Reality, the yellow cabs are still running, not floating. Predictions from 1973. The Times said, Britain faces famine in a decade. Reality, the Great British Bake Off was born. Predictions from 1974. The Science News magazine stated, ozone loss could kill all ocean life by 2000. Reality, turns out ozone layer depletion was only seasonal, like leaves falling off during autumn. Predictions from 1975. The Observer said, famine to kill 1 billion within decade. Reality, global population grew by 2 billion. Predictions from 1976. The LA Times stated, Dust Bowl to return by 2000, scientists say. Reality, corn grew taller than gossip. Predictions from 1979. Great Lakes drying by 2000. Reality, still great, still lakes, still full. Predictions from 1980. German news magazine Der Spiegel stated, acid rain to wipe out European forests by 2000. Reality, a road trip through the European woods is still possible, and very refreshing. Predictions from 1981. German farmland sterile in 15 years. Read the headlines from German newspaper Frankfurter Allgemein. Reality, potatoes kept partying on. Predictions from 1982. Des Moines Register said, crop failures to plague us by 1990. Reality, farm subsidies ballooned. Predictions from 1983. New ice age by 2010, predicts scientist. Yet another ice age prediction headline. This time in the Omaha World Herald. Reality, air conditioner sales soared. Predictions from 1986. Associated Press said, Amazon rainforest to be desert by 2000. Reality, deforestation continues, but nowhere close to being a desert. Predictions from 1987. BBC News made this bold prediction. Maldives will be underwater by 2020. Reality, resorts are still flourishing. A German newspaper headline stated, Swiss glaciers gone by 2020. Reality, that skiing trip you were packing for is still on. Predictions from 1988. NYT said, New York underwater in 30 years. Reality, the rats in New York are upset with all the swimming lessons they had to take. The Independent stated, Bangladesh to vanish by 2020, says UN. Reality, still above water. Predictions from 1989, Associated Press said, rising seas to erase nations by 2000. Reality, the UN added more members. The Time magazine stated, US East Coast to disappear by 2020. Reality, New England clam chowder endured. Montreal Gazette stated, maple syrup industry dead by 2000. Reality, pancakes wept, with joy. Miami Herald said, Disney World to be submerged by 2005. Reality, Splash Mountain stayed ironic. Predictions from 1990. The Sunday Times said, London to be underwater by 2000. Reality, the Thames barrier flexed. Predictions from 1991. According to the New Scientist magazine, Himalayan glaciers will be gone by 2010. Reality. Everest Base Camp got more crowded. Predictions from 1995. USA Today headline stated, U.S. beaches to vanish by 2020. Reality. Jersey Shore aired 12 seasons. Predictions from 1997. The Independent headline stated, snow to be a rare event in UK by 2010. Reality. It snowed in record numbers. Predictions from 1999. The Orlando Sentinel headline stated, Florida faces permanent hurricane era. Reality. Retirees kept flocking south. Predictions from 2000. Climate scientist David Viner and the Telegraph headline stated, British children will not know snow. Reality. UK recorded heavy snowfall in 2010, 2018, and 2023. CNN said, US beaches could be gone in 25 years. Reality. Beach towels claimed their turf. Predictions from 2001. Snowy winters to be thing of the past. This time it's the BBC. Reality. Brits kept falling on icy hills. Predictions from 2004. Britain to have Siberian climate by 2020. This time it's The Guardian. Reality. Brits still moaned about mild winters. Predictions from 2005. According to UNEP press release, 50 million climate refugees by 2010. Reality. Refugees did enter Europe, but not because of climate. It was because of unnecessary wars. Predictions from 2006. Al Gore said, we have less than 10 years to make a radical turn or face catastrophe. Reality. No radical turn occurred by 2016. Looks like catastrophe missed its alarm. Der Spiegel stated, European cities to flood by 2011. Europe. How's that great flood going? Predictions from 2007. Arctic summer ice to vanish by 2013. BBC yet again. Reality. Icebreakers still haven't caught their breath yet. The Independent headline stated, climate change threatens world food supply. Reality. The elites launching Terminator seeds is the actual threat. Predictions from 2008. Arctic ice free by 2018. This time it's The Guardian. The Scotsman headline read, skiing doomed in Scotland by 2018. No more snow in Britain within 10 years. This time it's the Daily Mail. I'm sure by now you are tired of listening about snow abandoning the UK. Readers stated, climate change may doom whales. Reality, whale watching tours are still quite popular, you know. Climate change could make humans extinct, warns James Lovelock. The Guardian warns again. Reality, well, I'm here, you're watching. Enough said. Predictions from 2009. At the Copenhagen Climate Summit, Al Gore said, the North Pole could be ice-free in summer by 2013. The Times headline stated, Maldives to be underwater by 2018. Reality. Both lies. Only 96 months left to save planet. Guardian again. We have only 6 months to save planet, according to the Independent. Reality. Months passed. Nothing happened. 50 days to avoid chaos. Guardian again. Reality. Chaos vacationed in Cancun. The Telegraph said, global warming unstoppable by 2014. Reality. Thermostats are still upset, with not being able to climb higher. Predictions from 2010. Arctic ice-free by 2020, scientists warn, said the Sydney Morning Herald. National Geographic headline said, Arctic ice could vanish by 2014. Reality, ice said, check back in 2030. And penguins are sending still here, postcards. Predictions from 2011. Coral reefs extinct by 2020. The Australian headline read, Reality, Nemo's cousins partied on. Predictions from 2013. LA Times said, California permanent drought by 2016. Reality, rain arrived, drama ensued. CBS News said, Canada's Arctic ice to vanish by 2020. Geez, if I had $1 for every time someone said about Arctic being ice-free, I'd be a very rich man. Predictions from 2014. John Kerry said, we have 500 days to avoid climate chaos. Reality, looks like chaos filed for an extension. Antarctic penguins will be wiped out by climate change. Reality, Antarctic ice grew in record numbers. New York underwater by 2015, New York Post said. Seriously, Do they have some kind of contract of predicting NYC being underwater every 10 years? Predictions from 2015? California has 1 year of water left? LA Times again? The Guardian stated. Paris climate talks, last chance to save the planet. Predictions from 2016. The Telegraph said, Great Barrier Reef to die by 2020. Reality. Coral booked a comeback tour. Predictions from 2017. BBC headline stated, Cape Town waterless by 2018. Reality. Looks like the crisis was averted, since locals stopped showering. Predictions from 2018. Another Guardian headline. We have 2 years to save the planet. Predictions from 2019. Prince Charles said, We have 18 months to save the world from climate disaster. Reality. World waited for Netflix drops instead. Predictions from 2020. USA Today said, Polar bears to go extinct by 2023. Reality. Fat white bears are still posing with their photogenic looks. There you have it. So many fear-mongering predictions that never came true. You ever wonder why? Because they were never meant to come true. So, why make these fake predictions in the first place? You have to understand that this same fear-mongering was used to push more taxes and regulations onto the common people, in the form of climate initiatives and carbon tax. The mainstream media, which is owned by the global elite, is instructed to do exactly this: scare the population into accepting their climate initiatives that only benefit them, not we the people. Climate czars like John Kerry and Al Gore continue to become rich, riding on their private jets, while lecturing you about saving the planet. The Guardian, The Telegraph, The New York Times, BBC, and others are all considered authoritative and credible sources by these AI assistants and fact-checkers. The mainstream media counter-narrative for their failed predictions is that climate models aren't entirely accurate, blah blah blah, now the prediction models have improved, blah blah blah, all bullshit. Over the past 50 years, none of their models got any of their predictions correct or have shown signs of improving. They'll say that the media hyped the studies for headlines. Reality? People don't bother digging through actual studies, especially when they have MSM shoving news down their throat, believing it to be credible. With a terrible record like that, they ask you to trust the science. This is why you have to always stay skeptical and demand actual data, not simulated data that can easily be tweaked in favor of the elites. And when someone says, this time it's different, ask them to point out a single prediction that came true.